Welcome back to the Breakpoint Tournament Expert Division weekend round hole number 3. Here we're playing a 3-shot hole using the APOC 5 plus for the drive, Cat 5 plus for the second shot, Grizzly 8 plus for the third shot. The drive is P3 minus 5% max, 5 top spin, 1 left spin. We're going to be using the left side of the rough, the white ring as a reference. APOC 5 and 6, you'll have 2/3 of the white ring in the left rough at the top of the +1. APOC 7, you'll have 1/3 of the white ring in the left rough at the top of the +1. And APOC 8, you'll have the white ring touching the left rough at the top of the 1. What you're going to want to do here is pay attention to the plus yards that you adjust up to. So for every plus yard you adjust up above the +8, add 2 clicks of overpower to your drive. The reason I'm doing that is I'm trying to keep this drive as close to 340, 341 as possible. If your drive rolls short, then you end up having to use overpower on the second shot, and I'm just trying to avoid that. On top of that, the more consistent we can get with our drive and our second shot, the more consistent our third shot will be. So we got 340 right on the dot there. Pay attention to the drive yards you drive it to, because that's going to come into play on our second shot with the cat. So now the second shot with the cat, I'm playing P3 plus 0% max numbers. I'm always playing max numbers, and I'll tell you how and why we're setting this up this way. My spin set is 5 top spin, 3 left spin always. And so from the 340-yard drive, I'm going to set up at the top of the +5. With Cat 7, I got the blue ring touching the rough on the left at the top of the +5. Cats 5 and 6, you'll have about half of the blue ring in the rough. Cat 8, your blue ring will be just off the rough. If your drive is, say, 339, then you'll set up at the top of the +6. If your drive is 341, then you'll set up at the top of the +4, right? Also, we're using left curl, baby left curl here, so the left side of the ball is splitting the shot circle, and no overpower unless you pull into it. If you pull into some overpower, use whatever you pull into. Great rights are going to come up a little bit short. If you hit this one perfect, it rolls a little bit longer and ends up closer to the bunker. But before we go into the third shot, I'm always using P3 max 0. And so if I set up at the +5, that's standard. I don't have to make any tweaks to my adjustment. It's P3 0 max. If I'm set up at the top of the +6, say my drive rolled a little short, 339, then I'm going to play max plus 0.1, right? If I'm set up at the top of the +4, then I'm going to play max minus 0.1. Always P3, 0% elevation, max numbers, and I'm just going to minus or add 0.1 depending on what plus yard I set up above or below the +5. +5 is my base. Always the same spin set, 5 top, 3 left. Always the same curl, and only use whatever overpower you pull into. We're trying to keep the drive and the second shot as consistent as possible, so that our third shot has the best opportunity at a drop. The third shot is always going to play P3 minus 15% at 20 slider. P3 minus 15 at 20 slider. Even with this great right and the ball rolling short of my intended target, I'm still playing it P3 minus 15% at slider. The only real difference is that I have to respin a different spin set on the approach. So I'm going to find the sticky spot, then respin it to where the ball guide is going just through the front of the cup and aimed center cup. But the most important part about this approach is that we find our sticky spot. If you just set up with base spins and you don't look for your sticky spot, there's a chance that you'll miss this. So make sure that you find your sticky spot. It's usually closer to the bunker rather than, further up and left. It's going to be down and right a little closer to the bunker. You see, there's my sticky spot, right? Then I'll respin it where I get that ball guide going through the hole. Now on this one, I wasn't really through the hole that much. So I come in a little soft, but that's all right. Still get the drop. We played this, my approach second shot was a little short, right? And so might have needed to add 0.1 to this, but I didn't. And I don't think you need to. We're trying to keep this as simple as possible. Just make sure that when you respin, that you have the tip of the ball guide just going through the front of the cup. I had it kind of just touching the front of the cup here, and it came in a little soft. Still came in, just a little soft. So if you're finding this sticky spot properly, doing everything else right, you have a really, really good chance at dropping the eagle. We don't want to lose a stroke on this hole, right? So make sure that you're pulling your drive straight. Make sure you're playing your approach shot, second shot properly, and make sure you're finding the sticky spot for your third shot. And you shouldn't have any issues. The reason I'm making this, I'm going through all this hassle is so that we don't lose a drop here and we get consistency on the third shot. So good luck. Practice this one a couple times. Make sure you're familiar with it, and you have a really good chance of walking away with an eagle. Wish you the best of luck. Hope you get the drop, and we'll see you on the next hole.